Welcome to Alliance Against Communism, where people of traditional faith and morals come together to defeat a common enemy. Faith, freedom, patriotism, meritocracy, individualism, Judeo-Christian values, strong nuclear family, truth, traditionalism, virtue, fortitude, charity, duty, honor, etc. is what America and the West is built upon. We are dealing with a subtle Marxist enemy that is subverting and is trying to uproot everything America and the West is built upon. We can no longer sit back and do nothing. They have chosen to battle us, and once somebody chooses to battle us, we have now chosen our battle. Join us today as we fight the good fight. This is our generation's fight, and we must fight to secure our children's future.
It seems to me that political correctness is also an assault on semantics. Semantics is just the meaning of words. Words are there to describe and to decipher one thing from another. Without words, there's really no order. It's just chaos. And things have no meaning. If we don't have words for them, they truly have no meaning. The grand distinction between the left and the right, to me, is that the left has a special gift with semantics and euphemisms, cloaking the meaning of words that seem less offensive, or they change the meaning of the word completely, basically controlling them. Their sole purpose is to deceive.
So you're saying like something like saying, we used to say illegal alien, but now they're saying undocumented immigrant. Is that what you're talking about?
Absolutely. Or like, for instance, if you go after like a Democrat in office, they refer to it as obstruction. But if you go after a Republican, it's referred to as the resistance.
So they're hypocrites, basically.
Well, I think that we talked about that because that's basically why we hate the left, is because they are rampant hypocrites.
Yeah, rampant hypocrites. The leftists, we're talking about, I'm talking about the rampant Marxist leftists, the Marxist-inspired leftists.
I think that's what the left has spawned into, because you're watching these Democrats that are starting to come over to the right. They're leaving the left because the left has become so unhinged. The left is no longer Democrats that were like John F. Kennedy Democrats.
As we were talking about before,
It's these people. It is no longer about freedom. It is no longer about liberty. It's no longer about the working man. It's about corporations, big tech, big business, lobbyists. That's what they're all about. And this is what Chris and I are trying to fight against. When we say Marxism, we do not believe in the collective. We believe in the individual. The individual obviously needs a collective to survive. Look at us, we're doing this collectively. But we don't share every single opinion that we have with each other, and we're willing to sit down and hash these opinions out, and we come to an understanding. The left doesn't want that.
They want to just cancel us out completely. Like, for example, you see these, like AOC and Rashida, whatever the hell her name is, Tlaib and Ilhan Omar and the stupid Bush lady and the other bald one, Presley, whatever the hell her name is.
Yeah.
You could see them. They want to basically cancel the Republicans out. They want to strip you of your community assignments if you say something you don't like. They're trying to do this January 6th thing. They're trying to investigate to see if anybody's got ties to the January 6th thing so they can cancel them out.
Well, there you go. But that's another example of communism. Communism is a one-party system.
Yes, one-party system, and they don't want anybody thinking as an individual. And they don't want anybody going against the collective. They want what they want. See, the problem with these Marxists is that you think they're doing the right thing, but they just want absolute power. That's what they want. You think they're trying to help the world and they care for the worker class and they care for everybody, but no, they want absolute power over people. That's what they want. If you look at what's going on in North Korea, like we said before, I think it gets to a point where people are going to jail for saying something, for watching a music video. People are getting shot in these countries. These people are lunatics. They want absolute power. They're disgusting human beings. And I don't care how good they sound. They are disgusting human beings.
Well, they want to control the word. This is basically what Chris and I have been talking about in terms of political correctness, is controlling the words, controlling speech, controlling people's thoughts. And when you control people's thoughts, it's a form of totalitarianism. That this is what we're so worried about, forcing people to use language against their will and their conscience. Because Chris and I were talking about this earlier. This fear of suffering the consequences of saying something that may offend somebody. You could lose your job. You could lose your house. You could lose your livelihood, your reputation, because you called he a she and him and it and a them. And this is completely absurd and it's insane.
Yes, and that's what they want. So they're trying to control us. They're trying to thought control us. They don't want us speaking out because they just don't want us there. They just want to put us away. And like I said, if you look at the Soviet Union, there was, they sent people to the Gulags. My grandfather was sent to the Gulags. All his property was taken by the communists, and he was sent to the Gulags. All his property was taken because he was educated and because he had property, and because he was a threat to, he was too intelligent. They just threw him to a prison camp. You should read about the Gulags. What the people went through in the Gulags. It was hell on earth what they went through because they didn't fit the communist mold.
Yeah.
That's just how it is.
It's essentially a war of words, and the left at the moment is winning. The consequences of it are everywhere, within our politics, within education, social media. Our universities have been controlled by Marxists for years, and now it's trickling down to K through 12. The social media giants are completely ruled by leftist politics. You could be a bigot against white people, Christians, but nobody else, because we're not considered a victim group. And in politics, the government, especially the Democrats, use pandering in order to get what they want. It's never about policy or getting things done. What they do is they tell people what they want to hear.
So they just tell people what they want to hear, and that's how they get the vote, and they get everybody to agree with them, right?
That's how I see it. Is they tell you what they think that. I mean, how many times have you listened to a politician where they tell you that this is what they're going to get done, this is what they're going to strive for when they get into office, and then the second they sit down in that seat, it goes right out the window.
So they're just manipulating.
Absolutely.
So basically, one thing about Donald Trump, though, is that he said a lot of things he was going to do, and he actually did a lot of the things he said he was going to do.
I was actually shocked. I did not vote the top of the ticket. I would refuse to vote for Obama. And then when Donald Trump came in, I didn't want to vote for him because he was a lifelong Democrat. And what he actually accomplished, I don't care if I liked him or not, but he would have accomplished far more if they would have allowed him to.
Yeah, but he did the things that he said he was going to do. That's one thing.
Absolutely, and he was 100% transparent. People got irritated by him on Twitter, which I completely understand. But the man was transparent, and when the man told you he was going to do something, he did it, or at least tried to do it.
Yeah, he tried. Yep. All right, so I talked a little bit about this before about tyranny, how complying with tyranny will not get you anywhere. It's not gonna make the situation better. See, the problem is we as human beings, we have a tendency to when we have somebody in power that we fear, or we're afraid of losing something, we're afraid of losing our job, we're afraid of this, we're afraid of that. We have a tendency to not want to challenge that tyrant, whoever that is, or whatever figure is causing us to be afraid to speak the truth. And so we have this notion where the best thing you can do is just kind of be quiet, just shut up, and don't stick out so somebody can nail you down. Don't stick out, don't over speak yourself because somebody's going to come and attack you and destroy you. So we have a tendency to say, oh, just do the best thing and just shut up and just kind of blend in and don't say anything and everything's going to be okay. But in reality, like I said a little bit before, that's not going to happen. It's not going to go away. The problem's going to get much worse. The tyranny is going to get worse. For example, if there was a bully that was bullying you, for example, let's say this bully was emotionally abusing you, for example, and you didn't say anything, you just kept your mouth shut, whatever, and you think that it's going to go away? You think so? He starts emotionally abusing you, then he's going to start physically abusing you if you don't stand up for yourself by emotionally abusing you, right? That's what generally happens.
That could go as far as a parent.
Yeah, so it's really important that you can't have that mindset that if I just shut up, it will go away. It's not going to go away. It's going to get worse. So you cannot comply yourself out of tyranny. You cannot comply yourself out of tyranny. I want that to be I want to jam that into your head. That's a very, very important thing.
Well, it's funny, the way that I see what Chris is talking about, it's very simple. you have evil people, and if these people don't have power, they do limited amount of damage. But when you put evil people in a position of power, like Chris has talked about in Tyranny, they can do a mass amount of damage.
Like, for example, like just even with what they don't do, how much damage they can do. For example, we saw what's going on in California, how they changed the theft law because they said it was racist to basically to punish black thieves, basically, right?
Everything's racist. Mathematics is racist.
But what did we see? We saw just theft after theft after theft. They went out into the nicest communities and started thieving millions of dollars.
Look at the stores that are leaving California because of the San Francisco and LA.
So you thought it was racist to punish black thieves, but now you didn't punish the black thieves. Now hell on earth is coming, and people are leaving California like in droves, right? So it's just you gotta do the right thing. Even though even if it appears to be racist when it really isn't racist, to protect your community is not racist, and to punish thieves is not racist. Would you want to live in a society where people are stealing left and right? I want you to think about how stupid this is, okay? A city depends on revenue, tax revenues, all this stuff. And so if you destroy a store, let's say a store is getting, I just read this article yesterday, and actually this morning, and I was greatly disturbed by it. It was this Arab guy. He was in Seattle, and he says he's been robbed like 9 times in the past couple months. And he says, I can't do it anymore. I can't be robbed anymore. I can't do this anymore. I'm afraid. I don't want to do this anymore. And he's going to shut everything down. He's going to shut everything down. Now I want you to think about how stupid this is. First of all, that business provides jobs for people too. Number 2, they provide resources for people. Number 3, they pay taxes. They pay taxes, sales tax, and all this. And what is that sales tax used for? To help the community, for services, for police services, for whatever services the city provides to make you have a better life. Absolutely. So you would rather
the fire department.
So yeah, the fire department. So you would rather you think that something's racist to go after thieves. So you don't want to be called a racist, but you would let your community burn down because you don't want to be called a racist. Yeah. So would you rather be called a racist, or would you rather live in security? Because I sure as hell would rather live in security than be called. I don't care if you call me a racist.
Well, I think what you're saying touches on. You mentioned people fleeing in droves from California. These aren't people that are blue. These aren't people that are left-leaning people. These are right-wing or center-right or center people that want to get away from that because they don't subscribe to this, the silent majority, if you will. They're leaving for Florida and for Texas, and they're leaving for these states because they're red, because they don't subscribe to this nonsense.
And we're seeing America be destroyed right in front of our eyes. Like, I can't believe what's going on in Seattle. I can't believe what's going on in San Francisco. This is America, and we're allowing these leftists to destroy our country.
Yeah, that is crazy. This is America, a lawless country. Can you believe that?
This is not. They're turning this country into a third world country, and we cannot allow this. I cannot allow these leftists to destroy this country. And I don't care. They was talking about, well, they got into power through democracy, through voting. I don't give a shit. I'm not going to let these people. We cannot let these people destroy America. I don't care if they're even elected. We're not going to let these people destroy America. We must do what we must do to protect America. I don't care if the next Republican president comes into power. If we have to remove these people by force, we remove these people by force. We're not going to allow these people to destroy America. We're not going to allow innocent people to be murdered. We're not going to allow criminals to rule America. We're not going to allow people to steal in droves. We're not going to allow people to get murdered. We're not going to allow this to happen. We're not going to allow it to happen. And I don't care what we have to do. We're not going to allow this to happen through democracy. Democracy was not intended to turn America to a third world shithole.
Yeah, but in reality, we don't live in a democracy.
We don't. We live in a republic, a representative republic.
That's exactly what we live in. And just like you're saying, if people get into power and their best interest politically and socially is not for their communities, they have no right running those communities. If they were running their own private business and they want to run their private business into the ground, that's all fine and dandy. Go right ahead, destroy it if you will. But the community itself, you don't just take taxpayers' money like Kwame Kilpatrick. We could get into that all day long. But taking people's money and frivolously spending it like it was yours on Nonsense programs is a great example. Chris is right. What we need to do is we need to stop these people. I still cannot wrap my head around people voting for a lot, like New York City voting for whoever they vote for. It's, why are you doing this? Like how AOC is a state representative boggles my mind. Who votes for these people?
I don't understand it. I don't really get how they get voted in. I think it's just really stupidity how they get voted in. I think I think these Democratic voters just have a strong hatred for the country, and
or they don't understand what they're doing.
Maybe it's a multiple.
I mean, it's like this could be a separate topic that we talk about, but should everybody be allowed to vote? I mean, you have to take a test to get your driver's license.
Yeah, I agree. So coming back to the political correctness thing, the bottom line is we're not going to allow America to be destroyed, and the bottom line is we have to speak the truth. Okay, for example, what's going on in San Francisco? These are black looters that are literally they're causing this crime wave because they were emboldened by Black Lives Matter. They're emboldened by supposedly anti-racist policies that these pieces of shit did.
They're emboldened by this whole concept of political correctness, that people can't stand up and say what you're doing is wrong, because the first thing that they do
is call the racist.
Is pull the race card.
Pull the race card.
Right away, you're attacking me because I'm black. No, we're attacking you because you're a criminal and you're a piece of shit.
Exactly.
I don't care if you're purple with scales. You're breaking the law.
Now, when I saw that I read that article where that guy, the Arab guy was saying, I can't do. He said, I can't do this anymore. He can't run a business in America anymore. This is where we put a stop to this. I don't even care. Yeah, he's an Arab, but he's an American, and I don't
care who he is. Like I said,
I cannot. It breaks my heart that an American is saying that I can't do this anymore in America. I can't open a business anymore in America. I can't fathom that. I'm not going to allow this leftist to do this to this country. And I don't care what we have to do. We have to stop this, because we're not going to allow these people to destroy this country. What this Mayor Lightfoot bitch is doing, this Beetlejuice woman, dude, she's destroying Chicago. It's becoming the murder capital of the fucking world.
Well, you start to wonder, again, I think we've touched on this, if they're doing this because they don't know what they're doing, or if it's because it's completely intentional, like Chris was saying earlier, that they hate our country, and the only way that they can destroy it is from within, rot it from within, and that's what it seems like they're doing.
Yes, because I think they just have a deep hatred for the country. I really think that's what it is.
I mean, well, if you look at the top 25 safest cities in the United States, I think 24 of them are Republican, and then the top 25 worst cities in the United States are Democrat.
And I really believe this, I'm going to say this out loud, is that I believe that these Democrats are doing this because they have two things. Number one, they hate America, and number two, they're envious of white people. They hate white people and are envious of white people, and they hate America. And that's what these leftists are, and I'm going to say it, and I believe that's 100% truth. They want to do all these things because, I'll give you an example, all these crimes that were going on, these theft crimes during our Christmas, right? So these Black Lives Matter people were saying that we need to destroy white capitalism. White capitalism is oppressing us. And did you know that they were trying to steal from as many white businesses as possible because they possibly wanted to destroy white capitalism during the crime waves of the Christmas?
It just sounds like an excuse to be lawless, is what it sounds like.
Yes, it is. It is what it is. So the bottom line is, what I'm trying to say is, you cannot be politically correct. If you're politically correct, you can't call the problem for what it is. We're never going to cure the problem. We have to call the problem for what it is, just like anything. You can't be afraid to be called a racist. You can't be afraid. Just call the problem for what it is. So I have a master's degree in international relations. So I study governments, from a really high perspective.